One of many major highlights on my UK trip was getting to ride aboard the world-famous London Underground. I managed to ride on all 7 of the deep-level tube lines, and have since picked out 4 types of tube train that I consider to be my favourites. The first 3 are in no particular order, but I'm saving my favourite for last. The first cab off the rank is the 1992 stock, notable for being the only deep-level tube stock to run on multiple lines. 90 examples of this class were built by BREL/ABB between 1991 and 1994, with 85 8-car units going to the Central Line, and a quintet of 4-car units going to the Waterloo and City Line, replacing the 1962 stock and Class 487 units respectively. As the Waterloo and City Line was still run under British Rail at the time, the 92s that went there were initially designated as Class 482. As for why I like the 1992 stock, the main reason is their distinctive traction motor sound, at least on the units that haven't been refurbished yet, but I also like the design of the cab front because, as silly as this may sound, I can't help thinking that it makes these trains look like they're pulling some sort of goofy smile. As bizarre as this may sound, the 92s kind of remind me of Toni Basil, a name you may remember if you've ever heard her hit song Mickey from 1981. I like it fine, but I prefer her later song from 1983 called Over My Head. Anyway, as for why I brought up Toni Basil in the first place and likened her to the 1992 stock, it's because, in my opinion, both the 92s and the legendary dancer/singer still look good for their age. As time goes on, I'll remember these units for the time when I rode on the Waterloo and City Line, which has been, and still is, my favourite out of the 11 tube lines. Another significant memory of these trains is the time when I rode from West Ruislip to Shepherd's Bush. Unfortunately, and to my disgust, lots of the Central Line trains that I saw had been spoiled by graffiti. This left me wondering why TfL was seemingly not bothering to clean it up, and how they could allow these units to run in such a shocking state. The next train on my list is the 1996 stock, which runs exclusively on the Jubilee line. There are 63 units in this class, each made up of 7 coaches, and they were built by GEC Alstom and Metro Camel between 1996 and 1998, with additional coaches following in 2005. I have fond memories of riding these units more often than any other tube train. That's because I had West Hampstead as my local tube station while I was staying in London. Of course, you can't overlook the 1996 stock's iconic traction motor sound, and that's another reason why I like these units. There aren't many things I dislike about the 1996 stock. The only things that come to mind are the seat comfort, or lack thereof, and the train's tendency to make a lot of noise while lurching and swaying about in the tunnels. Incidentally, There's a type of electric train in Melbourne, Australia, whose traction motor sound reminds me of the 1996 stock. This is the Alstom Extrapolis 100, a design that first entered service in 2002, 5 years after the Jubilee Line trains. Up next is the 2009 stock, which can only be found on the Victoria line. 47 examples of this class were built by Bombardier Transportation, and they entered service between 2009 and 2011 to replace the old 1967 stock, which had worked the line ever since it first opened in 1968. As for why I like the 2009 stock, it's mainly for their distinctive traction motor sound, but also because they have a somewhat amusing appearance, looking like a shrunken version of the S stock. One thing I don't like about the 2009 stock is their sudden and rapid braking as they arrive at a station. As for the Victoria line as a whole, it's my second favourite tube line thanks to its impressively complex automatic train operation, which allows for headways as short as 1 minute, or sometimes even less than that. And at peak times, they can run 36 trains per hour in each direction. Indeed, I can recall at least 3 occasions where I watched a 2009 stock train leave, then looked in the opposite direction to where that train was going, and could already see the lights of the next train. From the perspective of someone from a country that doesn't have any kind of rapid transit system of its own, the rail scene on the Victoria line is just a crazy thing to observe. Last but not least, we have my favourite rolling stock from the tube, namely the 1972 stock on the Bakerloo line. I generally like older trains anyway, and the 1972 stock also has the distinction of being the only London Underground train in Train Sim World, making her in-game debut in August 2020 as part of the Bakerloo line route add-on. Indeed, I've driven the 1972 stock in TSW many times over the years, so it was kind of surreal to actually see and ride aboard these trains in person. As much as I like the 1972 stock, I was shocked by their shabby state, especially with all that filthy graffiti through the coach interiors, and, in some cases, on the outside of the trains as well. I don't recall seeing a single Bakerloo line train that wasn't vandalised in some way or another. Much like with the 1992 stock on the Central line, I can't help wondering how these trains got into such a poor state in the first place, and why TfL was seemingly not doing anything about it. Putting the vandalism aside, the 72s are notable for being the oldest trains still in regular passenger service on the London Underground. Despite the unwelcome presence of graffiti, I still liked riding aboard these units for the otherwise cozy atmosphere and comfortable/bouncy seats, not to mention the transverse seats that are still present in the driving coaches. And there you have it, a brief discussion about my favourite train types from the London Underground. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my choices, or if you have any favourite tube trains yourself. Until next time, thank you all for watching, and as Victor Tanzig would say, have a good one.